Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 10th of January and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in this video, we are going to discuss entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. We'll take all articles along with their background and way forward, and you can download explainer PDF notes of this entire session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram channel is given in description box in YouTube, or you can directly go to Telegram and can search there by typing Thinking Palette by Sahil. Fine. Now, before starting up, guys, we are a little bit late today as I was not feeling well in the morning, so apologies for that thing. Now, starting up, first of all, we'll take overview of entire newspaper so that we can understand that what are important article in today's newspaper. Okay, so guys, the first article that we can see here is Tamil Nadu governor walks out of house as CM objects to deviation from speech. So, with respect to the governor's address, constitutional provisions, what's this particular matter, all these things we are going to discuss, particularly under the angle of polity. Then side article, Bolsonaro backers storm state institution. Now guys, we have seen this particular thing that the former president's supporters have stormed the state institutions. Now this is something which happened in US. Yeah, fine. So basically in US, Capitol Hill incident that happened, similar to something like this had happened here, but you don't need to go too much in detail because it is an internal crisis, internal matter issue of Brazil. Moving on. Then we come to the city section. In city section, the regional politics, all these kind of issues are going on. No need to go in this particular direction. Tenders, advertisements, etc. are there. So we'll directly be moving. Okay, and here guys, again we see this particular same article. The Tamil Nadu governor skip portions of text of speech. We'll see this particular thing. Then here we can see that the Andhra Pradesh has moved to Supreme Court asking fair division of assets. So we know this thing that earlier Telangana and Andhra Pradesh were one state, but the bifurcation happened after 2014, and on that particular thing, transfer of liabilities, assets, that settlement is being discussed. Now for UPSC examination, no need to go in this particular article. Okay, then moving on, so we will be coming to editorial section. The first article, the difficulties in determining age. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. The next side article, time to count. This article is talking about the census delay that's happening. Now on same line, there is one article in text and context page also that has come. So we'll see this along with that. So both articles we are going to see. Then below article, a step towards fighting corruption. We'll see this particular article also, guys. Fine. And then the side article, Supreme Court must provide a definitive directive on right of the same-sex couples. Now, what this particular entire issue is all about? So now there are many petitions that have been filed in different high courts where the people are asking that the same-sex couple should be allowed to get married under provision of Special Marriage Act. Now there are many petitions that were there in different high courts. Supreme Court has clubbed all those petitions. Supreme Court has taken all those petitions with it. Okay, so this is what is being provided. Now, up till now, judgment has not come in this particular direction anyhow. Then a mountain reeling under human aggression. So we'll see this particular article with respect to the unsustainable development that's going on in Himalayan region. Then further moving on, municipal corporations in India are gasping for funds. This particular article, basically the RBI report has been published which talks about the state of municipal finances in India. You will see this particular article. Then coming to text and context, a delay in decennial census. So again, article on census, we'll see the important substance that's carried in this article. Then has human animal conflict increased in Wayanad? Now guys, this particular article is talking about a recent issue where an elephant has attacked a daily worker in the Sultan Batheri in Kerala. Now basically the article is giving details about that particular thing, that okay, how the elephant chased the person, then he got injured and all that particular thing is given. Now basically understand this thing that over the years human animal and conflict are going to increase. Why? Because the habitat loss is happening, development is intruding in forest. Okay, moreover we see this thing that unplanned development that is happening, protected areas are shrinking. So obviously these particular kind of things are going to increase. Now the article is giving largely details about this incident where a person got injured, and then very generic points are there. Moving on, after that, now this particular article, open access movement. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination as what it is talking about. And then Further moving on, after that, this DGCA issue is going on, where in Air India one of a person urinated on one woman. Fine, so that issue is going on. Then guys, further moving on in this particular direction. Okay, so moving on, here we can see opposition parties play EC's remote voting plan. We'll see that what was this remote voting plan and what issue has come. Fine, Russian flight makes an emergency landing. No need to go here. Now here there is one important article. State governments to form committee on UCC cannot per se be challenged, Supreme Court. So this particular article will be taken up. Then further moving on, over 3.12 lakh Indian Railways post lying vacant, says ministry. Okay, so over 3.12 lakh Indian railway posts lying vacant with the says ministry. So basically now we see this particular thing, guys, that a large number of railway vacancies are there. Okay, now you don't need to track that, okay, how many lakh, how many thousand vacancies are there, but the point is that when we talk about railways is a very important utility services, which it is a national carrier, national transporter, and it has many segments. The safety department is there, operation department is there. Okay, and such kind of vacancies will be putting a lot of burden on existing staff. It will provide substandard services to the users, and all such kind of issues are going to come. Then in this particular direction, damaged buildings in Joshimath. Okay, then guys, further moving on, in aftermath of riot, Brazil vows to protect democracy. Okay, now the article is just talking about that crisis that happened in Brazil. Now here you see China post wolf warrior official to border affairs department. So basically the Chinese foreign ministry's spokesperson Zhao Lijian, now he has been popularly called as wolf warrior diplomat. Now what is the meaning of this wolf warrior diplomacy? So basically we have seen, particularly after 2020, Chinese diplomacy has changed, and now they are becoming more rash, they are becoming more outspoken. Subtleness in diplomatic language that was there, it's missing. So this diplomatic version, this version of diplomacy in China, where diplomats are outspoken, they are crude, okay, that is called as wolf warrior diplomacy. And the Chinese foreign ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian was popularly called as wolf warrior diplomat, and now he has been made as in charge of the border affairs department. However, you don't need to go and track this particular article in too much of detail. Then further moving on, business page. So here corporate trends etc. has been discussed, no need to go here. Okay, polls in 2024 will make it tough to cut subsidy bill. Okay, so we have seen this thing that fiscal deficit of government has increased a lot, and as fiscal deficit of government has increased, in this particular direction it has been said government needs to reduce revenue expenditure. So food subsidy and fertilizer subsidy are to be reduced, but it will be difficult because of populism. Then we have sports page. So this is, guys, overview of entire newspaper. I hope that you have understood this overview. Only one objective is there to show this overview, so that you don't develop entire dependency on this video. If in future you want to read newspaper at your own, you should know that which type of articles are important, which type of articles are not important. So if you want to read at your own, you develop that skill. So dependency should not be there. Okay, moving on. Okay, so guys, before starting, in every class we take a synoptic notes, or sorry, in every class we take a quotation which can be used in your GS papers. So today we'll take quotation from Benjamin Franklin. So Benjamin Franklin says, justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are. So point is that there is a person who has met it with injustice. Only this particular person should not be outraged. The larger society which is not affected with injustice, they should be outraged. They should be coming out in support of the people who have met it with injustice. So the people who are unaffected with injustice should also come and propagate justice. Only then justice will be served. So this quotation can be used in GS paper number 2, and GS paper number 4, ethics. So that is all about the quotation, and now let's start with the discussion, and let's take first article. Okay, so the first article that we have taken is from text and context page. So guys, we don't move sequentially page by page, we move in order of importance of articles. Okay, and in between we take editorials. Now The first article, the open access movement to make academic papers accessible for all. Now this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2, education, GS paper number 2, education, research and development. Okay, now basically before going in this particular article, I would like to give you some background information which is important so that we can make more sense of this article. Okay, now guys, understand this particular thing, that many of researchers, okay, scholars, scholars, what they do, they publish their research paper. They published their research papers. Okay. Now these research papers are published in some reputed journals. Okay. They are published in some reputed journals. And the students who are doing some research, students, scholars, other researchers, from time to time, they refer to these research papers. And in this particular way, knowledge building, knowledge sharing happens. Now, today we see this particular trend that as these research papers are being published by journals, these journals, they charge a lot of money. So on an average, $15 to $35 are charged to read one paper. Okay. Now point is that often these students, researchers, they might not have that much money. Moreover, when we talk about universities, universities have to take subscription of these journals. Now there are multiple journals. Okay, these subscriptions have to be taken. These subscriptions are very expensive, and because of that particular thing, education becomes expensive. Okay, this is one issue that's there. Now I just want to tell you a little bit more that how this particular entire arrangement works. So basically what happens, a researcher will write a paper, will write a research paper, will submit this research paper to publishing house, will research this particular paper to publishing house. Now this publishing house will research the paper in their journal, okay, in their journal or in their magazine, whatever they are releasing. Now here peer review will be carried. What is peer review? There are other scientists, there are other researchers in the same field. They will read this particular paper, they'll identify shortcomings, they will amend, they will justify that, okay, this is right, this is not wrong. So as we are running this peer review platform where you upload your answers daily and your fellow friends are evaluating it, in the same way peer review will happen. On that particular basis, this particular researcher might again be revising his theory, might again be coming out with the amendment, and in this particular process, this thing goes. Now, the researcher gets benefit because of this peer review. Okay, and publishing house, as it has published this journal and is charging money for reading that particular journal, they are also earning money. And in this particular way, entire scientific fraternity works. Is it clear? So this is the basic thing that you need to know in your mind. Now coming to open access movement. Which is being discussed in this particular article. So basically, the researchers, students, scholars, universities, they demand this particular thing, that these journals, these subscriptions have become very expensive, and we have to take subscription of multiple journals at same point of time. So these papers should be available in open domain. We should not be asked to pay. So free of cost they should be available. So open access movement specifically provides that all these research papers should be available in open domain, where without paying the cost they can be accessed. Okay. So this is the open access movement. Fine. Formally, how to write open access movement if it comes in your exam, that all definitions I have given you here in this particular handout. And now why it has come? It's because government is now bringing one nation, one subscription scheme. What is this one nation, one subscription scheme? That is also we are going to discuss here. Yes. So what is open access? Open access is simply a term associated with certain practices in academic publishing which improves access to scholarly work. Open access scientific papers will be free and will be fully accessible. They are available to you at free of cost. You can download it, you can read it. So this is the open access movements. Okay. Now the issue that coming here is that that these subscriptions have become very expensive. So therefore this open access movement is becoming more and more popular around the world. Now recently government has introduced, is bringing one scheme in this particular direction. What is the name of scheme? Scheme is one nation subscription scheme. Scheme is one nation one subscription scheme. In this particular scheme, what will happen? Government will negotiate with publishers the subscription cost. Right now what is happening? Different universities, they have taken subscriptions and the universities are negotiating with the publishers the subscription cost. But now government will buy the subscription, government will pay the money, and then that subscription will be provided to the universities, so that universities and scholars don't need to pay out of their pocket. So this is one nation one subscription scheme. So therefore this will be happening. Moreover, publishers, on the publishers, a fixed fee will also be a charge, which will be funded by the state, which will be funded by the government. Okay, so that everyone can read the papers at no additional cost. Fine. So government will negotiate, government will pay the money, and people, researchers, can read paper at free of cost. This is a very good initiative. Now basically guys, as we talk about this entire process, I have already discussed this particular thing, that scientists write the paper, submit to journal, then journal publishes it. Now understand this particular thing, that open access movement has become more popular after 1990s. What has happened after 1990s? See this thing, before 1990s journals have to be printed, so there was a printing cost, and therefore when the publishers were asking money, it was justified because they have to incur printing cost on that. But now many of the journals and majority of journals have turned in online repository where they don't need to print the paper, so therefore additional cost is not there. So point is that if there is no additional cost, while still they are charging so much of money, so open access movement has started. Now there are certain alternative arrangements that have been taken in order to bypass this paid subscription process. Now what are these alternative arrangements that have been made? Number one is preprint arrangement. Preprint arrangement. Now what is preprint? Guys, preprint is a manuscript of a research paper. Suppose I have written a research paper, I will submit it to publisher, publisher will then publish it in the journal, peer review will happen. Okay, now there is a manuscript, that is the unpublished version which did not received a formal peer review. So many of the websites, what they are doing, they are taking these manuscripts from the researchers and are publishing these manuscripts. So in these manuscripts, they aren't peer reviewed, but still some walk around, some review is there. Fine. So this is one arrangement that is happening so that they can bypass from the subscription cost. Now the another thing that has happened here is that, guys, today many of the publishers, they have come out with a kind of an arrangement where they ask researcher that what you can do, you can pay us the money so that your readers don't need to pay money. Is it clear or not? For example, guys, what can happen? Okay, so tomorrow, let's say, what can happen? For example, we are preparing some content for you, okay, and I want that my subscribers, my students should read that content for free. So what I can do, I can pay for that particular content so that I can make you available for free of cost. So therefore there is a new arrangement that has come where what is happening, basically some of the publishers, they are charging the authors of a paper before publishing a paper, and they are charging this particular fees, which is called as article processing charge, and this is called as gold OA, gold open access. Why it is an open access? Because people, readers will get that document free of cost, but author is paying. Okay, so for readers it will be free of cost, so that is open access. But it is not plain open access, it is golden open access or gold open access, because author is paying the money, that is the APC, article processing fees or article processing charge that they have to pay. Then there are another kind of OA models, that is green open access, green open access. Now what happens in green open access? So basically publishing house will provide access to certain research paper to universities, institutions, but they cannot provide it in open domain for a particular period of time, let's say 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and after that particular time that paper will be made available to common public. Okay, so this is the green OA. So as the patent is taken on a medicine for, let's say, 15, 20, 25 years, after that patent expires, you can manufacture. In the same way, for 10, 15, 20 years, there will be an embargo, and after that, it will be published in the open domain, will be provided. And then there is one more OA, that is black OA, black open access. Now what it is? So basically there are many platforms, for example, Science Hub, okay, Sci Hub, that has been there. Now these platforms have illegally obtained the research papers and are providing these research papers to free of cost to readers. You might have heard the name of websites such as a torrent. So on a torrent you can download movie. Now these movies are pirated movies, okay? So in the same way, Science Hub or Sci Hub is the torrent of research papers where you can download research papers, but they are illegal, okay? Royalties have not been paid. Now already in Delhi High Court, whether the Sci Hub, which is providing free access, is it legal or not, that particular case is going on. So this is the black open access. So guys, these are all the different kind of open accesses that we have. Now when we talk about this APC, fine, that is the article processing charge, many of the authors are now choosing this particular way out so that their readers don't need to pay, and a lot of money is being asked for that particular thing. For example, according to Nature Communications, now Nature also is a reputed journal and it publishes paper, and its fees is 5.2 lakh rupees, 5.2 lakh rupees per paper. Now the people, the researchers from the lower income countries, for them the waiver can also be given, but India is not eligible in that. And certain, okay, now I have not put that line here, but some of the publishers, they are asking money as high as 35 lakh rupees, 40 lakh rupees for publishing. Now the point is that these researchers, scholars are not very rich kind of people, okay? So basically it creates a drag in this entire research domain, fine. So now India, now what has happened? Government has come out with the one nation, one subscription policy, okay, open access policy. Now government will negotiate it, okay, but there are three main problems. There are three main problems that will come in this particular direction. Problem number one, okay, while the government will pay a fixed sum to the publisher, okay, this sum, the money that is being paid, it is still huge. It will shift the burden from individuals to government, but still a huge money will be paid. Second issue that comes here is that which journals will be included in the negotiation. Now there are multiple journals, there are multiple newspapers, as you have in the way, multiple journals are also there. Which journal will government be negotiating, okay, and why that journal only is being negotiated, why other journals are not being negotiated? Deciding this particular thing will also be an issue. And then the next issue that comes here is that India has a large population of researchers with a diverse interest. Now journalists, the publishers, they might not agree on a common price. Now point is that, for example guys, see, for example, many of you are asking about the Hindu newspapers PDF. We cannot provide that Hindu newspapers PDF to you because it is outrightly a piracy. We cannot provide that entire e-paper PDF to you. What I can do, I can go to the Hindu newspaper publishers and I say that, okay, you give me the Hindu subscription at a more price and I will give that copies to my students, okay. Now they suppose they say that, sir, you are having so many of the students, you are having 2 lakh, 3 lakh of students, okay. So point is that individually we could have made more money, fine. So they might not agree. So this problem India will also face. There are so many students, so many journals, so many students are there, so journals may not agree at a common price. This is the issue that comes here. Now what are international arrangements on open access? So we have UNESCO, okay, we have UNESCO. There is UNESCO's 2021 recommendations on open science, and this 2021 recommendation provides that no one should be left behind with respect to the access to science and benefits from scientific progress. So many people, many researchers have done a lot of scientific progress, okay. Everyone should get the benefit, everyone should get the fruit of that scientific discovery, scientific knowledge, scientific research. So UNESCO provides this particular thing. And then Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which is a philanthropic organization which is pioneered by Bill Gates, they are also trying to provide unrestricted access of all peer reviewed journals to students, researchers, okay, scholars, etc. So these are in arrangement, and this is about one nation, one subscription scheme that government is launching. it will be helping in enhancing the quality of higher education in India. Moreover, as we talk about the quality of higher education, already we need to improve it a lot, fine, because the research impact of India, though is fair, but we need to further enhance it, fine. So that is all guys about it, and now I hope you have understood it. We'll move to next article. Moving to next article. Now, let's discuss this particular article, what the article is talking about. Okay, first of all, let's read heading. Ravi, first Tamil Nadu governor to skip portions of text of speech. Now, guys, this particular article has two dimensions. One is constitutional, constitutional plus academic dimension. Academic dimension. Fine. And second is a political dimension. Second is political dimension. Now, this political dimensions is not important for our examination, but constitutional and academic dimension will be important for GS paper number 2, issues related to polity and constitution. Issues related to polity and constitution, and this is we are going to see. Okay. Now, first of all, before going in this particular article, I would like to tell you some background information which you should know, and only then will be able to make sense of this present article that has come. So guys, first of all, you need to know, now this background information, though I have provided here, it is not available in newspaper. Okay, why I tell you this thing? I tell you so that you can download the PDF and you can attach it in your notes. Okay, now, so you first of all need to know about Article 176 of Indian Constitution. Article 176 sub-clause of Indian Constitution puts responsibility on governor. It puts responsibility on a governor, that governor will address both the houses. Okay, if it is a bicameral legislature in state, both the houses. If it is a unicameral legislature, the one house will be there. So governor will address the house, governor will address the Vidhan Sabha or the legislative assembly. Okay, at the commencement of the first session after the general election. So after general election, the first session will be addressed, or the first session of every year. First session of every year will be addressed by governor. Is it clear? In this particular address, governor will review the activities, achievements of the government in past 1 year, activities that they are going to do in this coming year. All these particular things, their account will be provided, their review will be provided. Okay. Now, understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about this governor's address, governor reads a speech that has been vetted or that has been provided by the Chief Minister and Council of Minister. Okay, so the speech that is there, it's not governor's own speech. This particular speech will be vetted by Chief Minister and Council of Minister. Okay, now President of India also makes such kind of an address. On the lines of governor, president also makes such kind of an address to parliament. Now understand this particular thing, it is a constitutional duty of both president as well as governor of a state that they have to deliver this particular address at every in the first session of a year or first session after the elections. They cannot refuse, but what they can do, they can deviate from the text of the speech that has been prepared. They can deviate from the text that has been prepared. Okay, certain portions of the speech they can completely ignore, certain of portions of the speech they can ignore, they can modify, this thing that they can do. Now, as of now, president has never done this particular thing. There has been no instance of president doing this particular thing, but governors many number of times have done this particular thing, that they have skipped a particular part, a particular portion of this particular address. For example, this particular thing has happened already in 1969 in the case of West Bengal. So at that point of a time, West Bengal of governor whose name was Mr. Dharmveer skipped 2 paragraphs. Okay, in Kerala also at least 3 times this particular thing has happened since 1969. So Kerala also had witnessed this particular thing, but in state of Tamil Nadu that has not happened in past. But now, yesterday, this thing has happened in Tamil Nadu also. So first of all, let's understand that what actually happened in Tamil Nadu. Let's understand that what happened in Tamil Nadu. So basically, Tamil Nadu governor, while reading this particular speech in the address that was given, what happened? He basically Basically what happened, he dropped certain references on secularism. Tamil Nadu was referred as the heaven of peace. In the speech, Tamil Nadu was referred as heaven of peace. He dropped this particular reference also, and he also did not mention the name of important leaders such as Periyar, Dr. Ambedkar, K. Kamraj, C.N. Annadurai, okay, Karunanidhi. Fine. Moreover, he also did not mention about Dravidian model of governance, which ruling government in Tamil Nadu propagates. Okay, because of this particular thing, what happened? A lot of commotion in the assembly started. Okay, members of legislative assembly, the legislators in the house, they started to criticize governor because of this particular thing. Now, after that, what happened? Now, basically the speech copy is the addresses copy is provided to governor, and a copy is provided to all the members also. What governor did? Governor skipped certain portions. Then chief minister moved a resolution and provided that the copy that has been provided, it will be accepted, not the one that governor has spoken. It will not be accepted, rather what was written in the copy, that was accepted. Now, because of this, after this particular thing, what happened? Governor walked out of the assembly, did not waited to hear the address of chief minister, did not waited for the national anthem also, and walked out of assembly. And because of this particular thing, a new round of confrontation between governor and government has come in the state of Tamil Nadu. In past also, multiple number of times that has happened, where Tamil Nadu governor has made certain comments that how there is a regression going on in Tamil Nadu. Fine. So many such kind of a things has happened in past. So this is another round of confrontation. These kind of a things should not happen. These type of things should not happen. Constitutional morality happens to be a very important principle in federal setup. Okay, center. Now governor who is chosen by the president, and in a way often it is said that governor acts as agent of center. It is a term which is a derogatory term, but now point is that governor and government in a state should be cooperative and should not always be in confrontation with each other. This is something that we need to understand. Is it clear or not? Fine. Now moving to next article. Okay, now again this is a text and context article, and the article talks about the delay in decennial census, and on the same line there is an article in editorial section also, that side article. I have included that thing also here in this discussion that we are going to take. Now this particular issue will be important in GS paper number 1, population related issues, GS paper number 1, population related issues, and it will also be important in GS paper number 2, government schemes for development. Why? Because census is attached to development. We'll see this thing in the analysis now. Okay, now let's start with the discussion. So basically what has happened, and if you are following newspaper analysis regularly, we have seen this particular development earlier also. Just a minute. Okay, now so if you remember, in the yesterday's newspaper analysis discussion, we have seen this particular thing, that now government has provided that administrative boundaries in a state will be frozen till June 30, 2023. June 30, 2023. Now what it means in simple words, let's understand this thing. Now basically guys, different states, okay, suppose this is the state of Uttar Pradesh. Now Uttar Pradesh, the administrative boundary of a district, administrative boundary of a tehsil, okay, administrative boundary of a block, they are constantly changing. Many number of times the governments, they are dividing a district and is bifurcating one district in two. Many number of times they are bifurcating tehsil and making two tehsils out of it. Sometimes they are merging, let's say, two blocks in one. So many such kind of internal changes are going on. Okay, so administrative boundaries of a state are constantly changing. Now we need to start a census. Okay, so before initiating census, we need to ensure this particular thing, that these administrative boundaries are frozen. These administrative boundaries are frozen. Otherwise, there will be a lot of confusion. Enumerators who collect the information in census, they will be assigned their duty that, okay, you need to collect data from that region, that block, that tehsil, that district. So, if these boundaries are constantly changing, it will create a lot of confusion in data collection. So, as a rule, it's provided that administrative boundaries are to be frozen, and only after 3 months, 3 months after the administrative boundaries have been frozen, census exercise can start. Okay. Now, what government has provided? Government has provided this particular thing, that Now, government has provided this particular thing, that these administrative boundaries will be frozen till June 30, 2023, and census will start 3 months after that minimum. 3 months after that minimum. So, it means that census will start in the month of October. 2023, and usually census is done in 2 phases, and it takes at least 11 months. It takes at least 11 months to complete these 2 phases. So, it means that census will be conducted anywhere around month of September, October 2024. General elections are due in the month of March, April 2024. The point is that census will not be completed before general elections of 2024 that are going to come. Is it clear or not? Now, basically, when we talk about the census, guys, understand this particular thing, that India is conducting regular censuses since 1881. Since 1881, okay. So, under the supervision of Plodden, under the supervision of Plodden, okay, who was a census commissioner at that point of a time. First census of 1881 was taken up, and after that, every 10 years we are carrying the census. Fine. And in India, we have Census Act of 1948, which provides the exercise of census. In India, census is mentioned in Schedule 7, is mentioned in the Union list in Schedule 7. It means conducting the census will be a responsibility of Union government. Within Union government, Ministry of Home Affairs. Within Ministry of Home Affairs, Registrar General and Census Commissioner of India will be a responsible body to conduct census. So, Census Act of 1948 we have. Now, point is that when we talk about the Census Act of 1948, it, guys, don't actually tell the date when the census is to be conducted. Okay. Now, when we talk about census, fine, I told you that it does not bind the government to conduct a census on a particular date. Okay. But census exercise has been mentioned here. Now, decennial census will be conducted in 2 phases. I already told you. The first phase is the housing census. Now, in this particular first phase, the enumerators will collect the information on housing condition, the type of house you are living in, a pakka house, you are living in a kacha house, amenities that you are having in your house, assets that a particular household is having. Okay, do you have gas connection or not? Do you have water connection or not? So, this is the housing census. The first phase, collect the housing data. Then the second phase of census, here population data is collected. For example, number of people, number of male, number of female, number of children. Fine. After that, the education, okay, how much is literacy rate, the religion is being followed by, what dominant religion is being followed by the people, economic activity, whether you are a professional, whether you are daily wage earner, whether you are a government servant. So, this your economic activity, and data on scheduled caste and scheduled tribe will also be collected. I already told you 2 days back we have taken an article on caste census, where we have seen this particular thing, that Bihar recently started the caste survey. Why? Because in census, caste specific data is not taken. So, already we have taken this particular point. Keep it in your mind. In prelims examination, such kind of things are often asked. Is it clear or not? Fine. Now, the census data is crucial for multiple number of functions, multiple number of administrative functions. And, guys, understand this particular thing, that many other surveys also we are taking. For example, National Family Health Survey. Recently, National Family Health Survey 5 was convened. Okay. Now, these surveys depend on the data of a census. So, if census will not be revised, will not be updated, these surveys credibility will also be questioned. Now, when we talk about the census, why it's important? Because it is a base for many other surveys, many other schemes. Beneficiaries when are to be identified, the data is taken from census. Even the Finance Commission. Now, Finance Commission allocates funding to the state. Now, Finance Commission is constituted under Article 280 of the Indian Constitution by the President of India, and it will suggest the funding to the state governments. Now, many number of times when the funding is being given, population as a criteria is used, and for population, if we don't have updated census, then there will be certain discrepancies that will come. Okay, this is one issue. Moreover, we also use census for many of the social justice initiative and social justice program. Here we have taken example of National Food Security Act, National Food Security Act 2013. Let's understand this particular point in little bit more detail. So, National Food Security Act specifically provides that subsidized food grains are provided to the people. 3 rupees kg rice, 2 rupees kg wheat and 1 rupee kg coarse grains are to be provided. Under National Food Security Act, it intends to cover 75% of rural population, 50% of urban population, and in total 66% population is to be covered. 66% population is to be covered here. Now guys, understand this thing. In total, it covers 66% people. Now, this data is taken on the basis of census. So, in 2011 census, population of country was around 121 crore and 66% people will be given the advantages. It means that around 80 crore people will be given subsidized food. But today, if we see, population has increased, and according to certain estimates, I'm not saying that they are 100% correct, because that will be known after census only. So according to certain estimates, it's provided that population has increased to 137 crore. Population has increased to 137 crore. And 66% of 137 crore, 66% of 137 crore will come to around 92 crore. But today we are giving food only to 80 crore. So it means 12 crore people are not being covered under National Food Security Act. Is it clear or not? Why they are not being covered here? Because data that we have is old. Is it clear or not? So by this particular thing, many people are going hungry. This is one example. Many government schemes give a benefit on the basis of the census data. So all those schemes are getting suffered because census is not updated. Okay. By the way, guys, one update I want to give you. If you are following, you know it already. But recently, government has brought a change for 1 year in National Food Security Act. What the government has provided for 1 year, even these 3 rupees, 2 rupees, 1 rupees will not be asked. Completely free of cost food will be given for 1 year. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana has been merged. Okay. Chalo, moving on. Now, further moving on in this particular direction. So basically, this point already we have discussed that under National Food Security Act, people are not getting benefit. Moreover, other surveys also, they depend on census. For example, now many surveys, guys, there is a difference between census and survey. We already discussed this difference 2 days back. By the way, again, I'll tell you. Census will take data from entire population. Survey will give data on the basis of a sample that will be taken. Are you getting it or not? Now, many of the surveys we are carrying. So, in survey, a sample size will be taken. So, understand this thing, that a frame or a list of a representative sample, it is taken from census only. Okay. Let me give you one example. Now, National Family Health Survey 5 was recently conducted under the aegis of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and International Institution of Population Studies. Okay, so International Institute of Population Studies, IIPS plus Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, they convened National Family Health Survey 5. Along with them, other bodies are also there. Now, they will take a sample. They will go to this sample population and will ask certain questions, and on the basis of that particular question, National Family Health Survey 5 will be released. Now, this samples list will be taken from census. This samples list will be taken from census, and the updated latest census that we have is of 2011. Recently, in 2021, this census result had started to, the National Family Health Survey 5 result has started to come, but still it's based on 2011 sample size. So all these kind of things lead to issues. Okay. Moreover, the census is also needed to determine population of migrant and migration patterns in India. Post 2020, we saw this particular thing, that there was a huge reverse migration crisis that happened in India in the lockdown period. Government at that point of a time wanted to provide relief to these migrants, but government did not had any data on migrant people. We have data from 2011 census, according to which 45 crore migrant people were there in India. But what about the latest thing? We don't have any data. So for migrant trend, migrant population, migration trends in India, we need to have such kind of data. Is it clear? Okay. Moreover, if you follow yesterday newspaper analysis, we have seen this particular thing, that many bureaucrats, intellectuals, they have said this particular thing, that government before coming out with the census provided that national population register and census exercise will be carried together. Now understand this thing. You might be knowing already that in 2019 Citizenship Amendment Act was brought, in which 6 religious communities from 3 countries, that is Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Pakistan, from 3 countries, 6 religious communities became entitled to get the citizenship. Muslims were not included in that. Citizenship Amendment Act became very controversial. Okay, it was believed that one particular religious community is being targeted, and then government came out that we will also conduct NPR, National Population Register. National Population Register is the list of usual residents of a country. Now point is that CA protest was going on, people also started to criticize NPR, and it was said that NPR data will be collected along with the census. So what happened? Some of people even started criticized census. Now point is that what has happened, census, it is purely a demographic exercise. It doesn't have any political undertone. Now point is that when the census, which is purely a demographic exercise, is being connected with politically controversial topics such as NPR, the credibility of census, fine, or basically the census doesn't stays as a pure exercise. So many of the bureaucrats, they have advised that collection of NPR register data should happen, which was to happen earlier in the first phase of census, should be delinked. If you want to do it as a separate exercise. Fine. So this is about this particular article. Fine, guys. Guys, I hope that you have understood this particular article. And now moving to next article. State government's power to form committee on UCC cannot per se be challenged Supreme Court. Okay. Now this particular article we'll see with respect to this particular article. Just a minute. Okay. This particular article we'll see with respect to GS paper number 1, GS paper number 1, GS paper number 2, issues of secularism. Issues of secularism. Okay. Now, first of all, what does this word means, UCC, and then we'll go in this particular article. Okay, I will give you background first and then we'll see this particular development that has come. UCC means for Uniform Civil Code. It means Uniform Civil Code. So basically, guys, in a particular nation, there are the criminal laws, and then there are civil and personal laws. Civil and personal laws. Criminal laws will include the offense such as murder, rape, dacoity, fine, all these kind of things. In the matter of criminal laws, we have uniform criminal laws. For example, we have Indian Penal Code, we have CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code. So criminal laws in India are uniform. It means that these laws will be applicable on all the persons belonging to all religion. You are Hindu, you are Muslim, these law will be applicable in same capacity. But when it comes to civil and personal laws, we don't have uniformity here. Different communities belonging to different religion, they have been given autonomy that they can decide on their civil matters as per their personal laws, as per their faith and all such kind of things. Now, in the matters of the personal civil laws, 4 subjects will come. Others are also there, but predominantly these 4 things will come. Marriage, divorce, adoption, and inheritance of property. Marriage, divorce, adoption, and inheritance of property, these 4 subjects will come under the purview of the civil and personal laws. Now religious communities can have their own laws in this particular direction. We have Article 44 in Indian Constitution in chapter of Directive Principle of State Policy, Article 44. Article 44 already provides this particular thing, that government should strive to bring a uniform civil code. Government should strive to bring a uniform civil code. Okay. But up till now, we did not had come out with the uniform civil code. Now, many state governments in the past had constituted committees to study UCC. Many state governments, for example, Uttarakhand government proposed that we will implement UCC, and we have constituted a committee to study UCC. In Supreme Court, this matter where states are constituting committee has been questioned. It has been asked that can state governments constitute such kind of a committee? So now Supreme Court has given the judgment in this particular, has given the decision in this particular matter. So this is all background that you should know first. And now going to this particular article. Okay, now what Supreme Court provided? Supreme Court provides this particular thing, that the state government's authority under the constitution to form the committee to examine the matter of UCC cannot be challenged. It is not wrong. It cannot be challenged. Why it cannot be challenged? Supreme Court has given the reason. According to Supreme Court, first of all, you should know about Article 162 of Indian Constitution. What is Article 162? Article 162 specifically provides that executive power of a state will extend on those subjects which have been given to state government under the 7th schedule. So in 7th schedule, we have 3 lists: union list, state list and concurrent list. Matters mentioned on union list, only union government will be able to legislate on that, will be able to execute policies on that. Fine. Then the state list and concurrent list. So point is that Article 162 provides that executive power of a state extends to matter with respect to which the legislature of the state has power to make laws. On whatever subject legislature can make law, on that particular matter the state can execute also. This is something that has been provided. Then Supreme Court provides that there is entry 5 in the concurrent list. Entry 5 deals with the subject of marriage, divorce, infant, minors, adoption, wills, okay, intestacy, succession, joint family, all these things. Now, you don't need to remember all these things. So, these subjects are discussed in entry 5 of concurrent list. Concurrent list means both parliament and state government can make law on it. So, concurrent list comes in legislative domain of the state government, and as it comes in legislative domain of the state government can even constitute a commission to study these particular matters. It's not wrong by state government. So this is Supreme Court judgment that has come here. Okay, so I hope guys that you have understood it. Okay, now these are some basic concepts which can even be asked in prelims examination. Fine, so you please need to be clear on these particular dimensions. Fine, I hope it is clear. Now, moving to next article. Okay, so guys, from here, now we are starting editorial articles. Okay, so first editorial that we are now starting, a mountain reeling under human aggression. Now, this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 3, disaster management, GS paper number 4, environmental ethics, GS 3 disaster management, GS 4 environmental ethics, and in GS paper number 1, geographical phenomena. Okay, we'll see this particular article there as well. Now, let's start the article first. Okay, so basically, if you remember, we discussed in yesterday's newspaper analysis also the matter of Joshimath. So what's happening? We find this particular thing, that Joshimath, which is in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand, it's now sinking. Land is subsiding in Joshimath. Because of that particular thing, government has issued an advisory that people should evacuate from Joshimath. Many buildings have been declared unfit to accommodate. Now, point is that entire town of Joshimath's existence has come under crisis because the town is sinking. Now, the article is saying that as Joshimath is sinking, This particular issue is man-made. This crisis is man-made. Many developmental projects we have started in past, and these developmental projects have initiated this particular crisis. For example, Char Dham project. Char Dham project. Now, basically, guys, it has been provided that in past many of unplanned unsustainable developmental projects have been taken. For example, Char Dham, it is pariyojana schemes to improve connectivity to Char Dham pilgrimage sites, which include Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri and Yamunotri, and multiple tunnels are being constructed, roads are being constructed. It has put a lot of pressure on fragile ecology, on fragile foundations of Himalayas, and because of that particular thing, there are the cracks that have developed and this entire town is sinking. Now, basically, if we talk about the construction of highways, railways, roadways that is going on, it has outrightly been provided that it is a prime cause. It's a prime cause of landslides. Fine. And these anthropogenic activities had made the hills and Himalayas extremely unstable. If we take the data, government has proposed to build 66 tunnels in Uttarakhand Himalayas, and right now 18 tunnels are already in operation. Now, as these tunnels and as these subsurface structures are being constructed, it puts a lot of pressure on fragile ecology. Now, guys, you know this particular thing, that the Himalayas are young fold mountains, and being young fold mountains, they are still rising. So basically, this particular landmass is not stable. The landmass is fragile, and here when we are putting a lot of pressure, it is further bringing ecological destruction. This is something that has happened. Moreover, developmental activities, they have also increased the concentration of pollutants, traffic exhaust. Now, tourists, when they are going every week to Himalayas, okay, Uttarakhand, they are leading to all such kind of issues. Now, point is that in this particular direction, guys, that at the same time, railway lines that we are deploying, even electric locomotion. Now, many times government justify that, okay, we are laying electric railway lines, they'll not lead to pollution, emission will not be there. But problem is not only emission. Vibrations of these particular railways will make mountain slope unstable, and because of that particular thing, a slightest trigger will lead to such kind of problems. Moreover, it has also impacted groundwater. So as tunnel construction projects have taken, groundwater has went down, and at the same time, there are erratic rainfall because of climate change, ecological degradation that is going on, and on the top of it, this construction is leading to all such kind of problems. Okay. Now, when we talk about the town of Joshimath, it is submerging because of the human-induced developmental activities, in which the most one which is to be blamed is Tapovan Vishnugarh Hydro Project Tunnel that passes just below Joshimath. Okay. Now, this particular Tapovan Vishnugarh Hydro Project Tunnel, it has imposed a lot of burden, and because of this, the Joshimath is now submerging. Moreover, at the same time, government has failed to understand this particular thing, that Himalaya doesn't needs mass tourist. Himalaya needs sustainable tourism. Fine, Himalayas don't need mass tourism, it needs a sustainable tourism. But the government has failed to do that particular thing. Excessive commercialization of Himalayas that have happened, okay, and excessive commercialization which government is trying to bring by this developmental project, it has led to a lot of problem. We have seen in past multiple crises have happened. For example, you might be knowing about 2013 Kedarnath flood that came, okay. Then Chamoli disaster happened in 2021, where the glacial lake outburst flood came. Fine, it was a very big flooding incident. On that particular thing, report has been given by the National Disaster Management Authority. So NDMA report on Chamoli district 2022. All these particular reports, particularly the reports on the Kedarnath flooding, also had provided that unregulated tourism, okay, unregulated construction boom, okay, it has impacted river valleys, flood zones, okay. This is something that has caused these problems, okay. So we need to focus on alternatives. Fine. Now, we need to understand this particular thing, that development of Himalayan region is important, but development of Himalayan region should not come at the cost of environment. Natural assets of the regions, forest, water, biodiversity, they are important and they should be preserved. So point is that rather than building mass big projects, we need to build small projects. Okay, if you build big hydropower project, it will lead to seismic pressure on land, and that seismic pressure might ignite landslides and all such kind of things. Okay, so this is something that, going by the past experiences, we need to learn a lesson from that, and sustainable development in Himalayas should be focused. Okay, so that's all about this particular article. And now moving to next article. Okay, yes, so this particular article, guys, a step towards fighting corruption. Now this particular article we are going to use with respect to, with this particular article we are going to use in the matters of GS paper number 2, GS paper number 4, GS paper number 2, GS paper number 4, corruption. GS paper number 2, GS paper number 4, issues of corruption. Now guys, what happened, just I want to give you one particular cases reference before going in this particular matter. Just a minute. Okay, so one incident happened, and this incident was this, that a person applied for an electricity meter connection. The people who are in charge of giving that meter connection, they asked a bribe of 10,000 rupees, and that particular person filed a case. While this particular case was going on, that particular person died. Okay, but Supreme Court provided that even if a person has died, the corruption case that got started, it will continue. Okay, earlier such kind of stand was not there. Okay, but now what has happened, Supreme Court has provided that matters of corruption are really serious, and once an act of corruption has happened, even if a person has reached a compromise, even if a person has turned hostile, who filed a complaint, he died or anything happened, the matter of corruption will be taken forward. This is very important, that this is very important which Supreme Court has taken, because act of corruption is not just a legal evasion, it is a moral evasion also of the people who are involved. So these things have to be dealt with a lot of strictness. Now, so the matter in Neeraj Datta versus state, fine, the constitution bench of Supreme Court has come down heavily on corruption among the public servants, that has increased, and it has lowered the bar of evidence that's needed to charge people who have committed corruption. Now what it means, let's understand this particular thing. Now Supreme Court in past many number of times have provided that how corruption has become a big disease that plagues entire India. Now Supreme Court recently provided this particular thing, that absolute proof of guilt alone can help the Supreme Court has debunked or had provided this particular myth, cleared the myth that absolute proof of guilt alone can help convict an offender. Now see this particular thing. Basically guys, when we talk about a person who has done a crime, okay, now in order to prove that particular person's crime, evidence is to be established, which point that yes, a person has committed a crime. Now when we talk about evidence guys, there can be a circumstantial proof. Circumstantial proof means that the situation points that this person probably have done a crime. Circumstantial proof, the circumstances were like this, that this person logically had done this crime only. And then there is an absolute evidence, you found a person red-handed, there is not even a grain of doubt that yes, person did a crime. Okay, for example, let's say there is a murder that has been committed at a particular site, and there is only one person at that site, and right now he is having knife in his hand. Okay, police comes, police finds this entire situation, that a person is murdered, there is a person standing, and he has murder in his weapon, knife in his hand. It is a circumstantial proof. Circumstances point that you have committed a murder. Other is absolute proof. In absolute proof, what is the case? I made a video where I have actually captured the person committing the crime. This is absolute proof. Now there is no doubt that this person has done the crime. You find some CCTV or you find such big proof that which removes all doubt. That is absolute proof. Now, when a person is to be charged, okay, now in the matter of corruption, the Supreme Court has provided that even if there is a circumstantial proof, if there is a preponderance of probability, if there is a preponderance of probability that a person has committed a corruption, the person will be charged. So basically what has happened, the burden of proof to charge a person, to convict a person, it has been brought. Is it clear? A conviction would be in order if all the circumstantial evidence, circumstantial proof marshaled by the prosecution and produced before the courts point unmistakably to the guilt of accused. Now, yes, the language looks very difficult, very typical. It is a typical legal language that is used in the court judgments. Fine. But simplified version is this, that even if there is a circumstantial proof which points that a person might have committed a crime, that proof is sufficient to uphold the conviction. Okay. This is something that has been provided. Now, the article says that when we talk about fighting the corruption, it's very important. And the fight against corruption depends on two important parameters. Number one, severity of the law and its application. Fine, we have Prevention of Corruption Act in India. So how severe is the law and how properly it is getting implemented, it will tackle corruption. And second thing is that strength of public opinion that would help carry forward the campaign for clean public life. How much people are sensitized, whether people are concerned for removing the corruption or not. These two things will determine the quantum of corruption in public life. Now, when we talk about, guys, India, always we are saying that in order to tame the corruption, we need to make laws more stringent so that the wrongdoer is punished. Make more strict laws, put more punishment. This particular thing is being propagated, but this is a very fresh viewpoint. Author is saying that this is wrong. Why? Now listen very carefully. This is a very beautiful point. Author is saying that when you put more harsh punishments, the proof of punishment will be that severe only. Now you see this particular thing. If a person is to be convicted that he has stolen 10 rupees, and if a person is to be convicted that he has had committed a murder, obviously the proof that has to be given needs to be more heavy. For 10 rupee corruption crime, there might not be a very big proof that is needed. Okay, but for a murder, a very heavy proof will be needed. So point is that when we impose more and more punishment, what happens? It makes difficult for court to convict a person, because then court will need more and more heavy evidence. So this particular thing. So point is that basically it's a hard reality. It is a hard reality. Fine, that if we lower the bar for the now, it is probably this hard reality which has persuaded constitutional bench to lower the bar for the quantum of evidence required to convict person charged with the corruption will also be more. So what it says, it's simply now. So the language of this article is very difficult. So therefore, I am giving you simplified versions first. Now the point is that the judges have understood this particular thing, that if we impose more punishment, then the burden of proof will also be high. So therefore, they have diluted such kind of standards. And Supreme Court is specifically providing that standard of preponderance of probability is a yardstick that is usually not accepted, but now we are going to accept it. Is clear? So if probability points that a person has done the corruption, then on that particular basis, a particular person can be charged. So this is some revolutionary judgment that has been given by Supreme Court in this particular direction. Now we need to understand this particular thing, guys, that today when we talk about India, we find this particular thing, that there is willingness to offer bribes to public servant. Okay, sometimes public servants themselves are asking bribe. Sometimes people are giving the bribe so that their work is done. Now the point is that public corruption, political corruption, public corruption has become a very big problem. We need to tame it. Okay. Now many of the states we find this particular thing, that even there is a situation that the citizens cannot access their basic rights without greasing the hands. So corruption has reached every nook and corner, and now we need some revolutionary steps to tame the corruption that has increased over years. Okay. Moving on to next article. Okay. Now the difficulties in determining age. This particular article we'll see with respect to GS paper number 2, juvenile delinquency, children related issues related to children, and within children related issues, juvenile delinquency. What is juvenile delinquency? Juvenile delinquency is juvenile delinquency or juvenile delinquents are the people who are in conflict with the law. Children who are in conflict with the law. Now, what has happened, guys? Basically, this article is talking about what are the different methodologies to determine the age of an individual. Basically, when a person is juvenile, or let's say 18, below the 18 years of age, he cannot be tried as adult in normal circumstances. Though there is some amendment that has come in this particular direction. Let me explain you it in a little bit more detail. So basically, guys, according to Juvenile Justice Amendment Act of 2015, juvenile will be a person who is below 18 years of age, and a juvenile will not be treated as adult, will be treated as a child. But if a person is between the age of 16 to 18 years and has done some heinous crime, such as rape leading to death, in that particular case, this particular juvenile can be treated as adult. That possibility is there. The juvenile can be treated as adult. That possibility is there. This special provision was added after the recommendation of the Justice Verma committee, which gave recommendation after Nirbhaya rape case. Okay. So this is the provision that has come. But a question comes that how to determine the person is in the age bracket of 16 to 18, whether a person is a 14-year-old, how to determine that particular thing. Many number of times people don't have age certificates, and many number of times people, they say that they are juveniles, so that their punishment becomes less severe. So determining age of a person, okay, when a person claims to be juvenile, we need to have certain techniques in this particular direction. Now what has happened recently, the Supreme Court gave verdict in Kathua gang rape case. Now, in the Kathua gang rape case, there was one of an accused person who also claimed that he was juvenile at the time of that particular act. Okay, and he should be treated as juvenile, but Supreme Court said that no, he will be treated as an adult. Now, how to determine these ages? Now, in this particular matter, the court relied on the physical evidence of that particular person. That particular person's physical examination was done. Okay, what is the facial hair growth? Okay, what is the growth of his other bodily features? Then dental examination and radiological examination. Okay, radiological examinations, other examinations of the body, they were done. Okay, and it was provided that that particular person's age was 19 years. So therefore, this person is adult and he should be treated as an adult as well. Okay, now the court has provided this particular thing that we now need to bring a better techniques to determine age. What better techniques? For example, wisdom teeth technique and DNA methylation level technique needs to be brought. So what are these techniques? We'll discuss them one by one. Now, wisdom teeth technique. So basically, wisdom teeth, they are also known as third molars. Okay, so wisdom teeth, third molars. So when we talk about these wisdom teeth, they come in a particular age. For example, it has been provided that the average period of eruption of these third molars or these wisdom teeth is between 17 to 21 years of age, and root formation happens between 18 to 25 years of age. So if a person is having the wisdom teeth or third molars where root has properly been developed, he will be in the age bracket of 18 to 25. So on the basis of development of his wisdom teeth, development of his third molars, we can determine a probable age of a person. Okay. However, there are certain cases where the wisdom teeth have appeared as early as 15 years also. So there is also this possibility is also there. The next is epigenetic clock technique. Now, what is this epigenetic clock technique? So in epigenetic clock technique, in the DNA molecules, so your DNA can be extracted from taking swab from your mouth, or some your other body specimen can be taken and your DNA can be extracted. Now these DNA molecules will be mixed with methyl groups. Okay, so certain methyls, okay, these DNAs will be added, and on the basis of DNA methylation, what methylation happens, on that particular basis a particular person's age can be determined. This particular person's age can be determined. Now this is scientifically little bit advanced kind of a stage, and scientists are still exploring that how much certain result can be given by the DNA methylation. Okay, so these are two of the techniques that have been there. Now Supreme Court is asking that we should use more and more these kind of techniques. There is one more technique that's there, that is, just a minute, there is one more technique that's there, that is bone ossification test. Bone ossification test. What is this bone ossification? Bone ossification, it determines the calcification. So basically in the bones, there is a deposition of calcium, calcification. Now with the age, the calcification level changes. So deposition of calcium will be impacted by the age. So what happens, certain of the bones such as the radius, fibula, femur, these particular bones can be examined, and on the basis of the calcification that has happened, the particular person's age can be determined. Now when we talk about the bone ossification test, fine, the ossification test has an estimate with a margin of 2 years. Okay, so a gap or a margin of 2 years is taken in the bone ossification. Is it clear or not? So these are some of the techniques that are there, but more importantly, we need to focus on registration of birth. Now, if we take the data according to United Nations Children Fund report, United Nations Children Fund report 2016, it's provided that only 72% of births in India below the 5-year are registered. Other births below the 5-year are not registered. Out of 26 billion children that are born every year, just 10 million are unregistered. They don't have registration certificate, and if they don't have registration certificate, proving their age will always be a challenge. Okay. Now, at the same time, basically, we can also take the reference of Sustainable Developmental Goal. So we have Sustainable Development Goal number 16, which specifically provides that the states need to provide a legal identity to all people. Birth registration is to be provided to all people so that they give a legal identity. Moreover, in this particular direction, there is one more very important data. Now, guys, all these data are in fact very important. According to National Family Health Survey 5, institutional delivery has increased to 88.6%. 88.6%. 88.6% people are women are giving birth in a hospital. So when they are giving birth in a hospital, it is very convenient to register those children at that point of a time. But still, only 72% children are registered. So why this difference is coming? We need to identify this particular gap. Okay. At the same time, basically, guys, it is also provided that non-registration of birth fine by the head of the house is a punishable, and there can be 5 up to 50 rupees under the Registration of Birth and Death Act. Now it has been provided that amendment provides that this particular fine can be increased to 250 to 1000 rupees if they don't register the birth. Okay, but more implementation is something that is in need of hour to tackle this issue. So this is, guys, all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood, and it's a good article talking on a very important and a significant and a meaningful topic. Okay. Now, next article, municipal corporations in India are gasping for funds. Now, this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2 and GS paper number 3, condition of local bodies, performance of local bodies. Now, what has happened? Reserve Bank of India has recently released a report, and this report is titled as Report on Municipal Finances. And this particular report provides this particular thing, that municipal bodies, they are largely dependent on the grants and funding given by the state and central government for their expenditure. Own revenues of the municipal bodies are very much less, and they cannot finance their revenue expenditure, capital expenditure by their own resources. They are dependent on the center and state government. It has been provided that today, whatever funding that municipalities are having, 70% of that particular funding they are using in salaries, pension, administrative expenses, which is a revenue expenditure, and just the 30% money can be used for capital expenditure. Now we know this particular thing, that the urban local bodies today in cities, there are big problems. Okay, just a minute, guys. Fine. So we find this particular thing that today there are big challenges in our municipal bodies, in our cities. Basic infrastructure is not there, parkings are not there. For that thing, we need to develop multi-level parkings, assets, okay, better quality of civic infrastructure. All these particular things are needed. But how it will happen if the state governments have a limited capital expenditures money? So now what they happen, they depend on state and central government. At the same time, it is also being provided that the taxes that are being earned by municipal corporation, they are inadequate. They are very much less to meet their own expenditures. Okay. Now, in this particular direction, it has been provided that own tax revenue of municipal corporation. Now, their own taxes. Now, their taxes, it majorly includes property tax, water tax, toll tax, and other local taxes. Now, they form just 31 to 34% of the total revenue in financial year 18, financial year 20. So means that around 65, 66 or around 70% money, they are dependent on the center and state government. Now, at the same time, guys, we see this particular thing that this particular share, the share of their taxes in their own revenue, it is very much less when compared to other countries. Moreover, this particular rate is also going down. Now, this particular data has been taken by the RBI on the basis of 200 municipal corporations analysis that has been done. Now, just if we come here and we analyze these particular graphs, then we find this particular thing, guys. Let's see. Here, it is being provided in this particular graph, it's being provided that from where majority of funds are being derived by municipal bodies. So, here we see this particular thing that total central and state transfer, it constitutes the biggest chunk in municipal bodies revenues. Now, below, now basically this particular data shows the tax revenues of municipal corporation. Now, compared to GDP of a state, how much is the municipal revenue? So, compared to the GDP of a state, majority of the states are having revenue which is less than 1% of the state GDP. Okay. So, we have only few states. Okay. Just a minute. Just a minute. I'll show you this particular thing. Yes. So, basically the article is providing this particular thing that in 2017 and 18, it was estimated, okay, 0.61% of GDP equivalent was the budget, was the money that these urban local bodies are getting. Now, in other countries, Brazil and South Africa, this is way higher. Now, just I want to show you one particular data here. Just a minute. Yes. Okay. The own tax revenue of municipal corporation as a share of state's GDP crossed 1% mark in Delhi, Gujarat, Chandigarh, Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh. So, municipal, basically their own share revenue, it was more than 1% in these states only, Delhi, Gujarat, Chandigarh, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh. Other states, their own revenue was even less than 1% share of the total GDP of that particular state. So, we find this particular thing that their revenues are going very much down. Because of this particular thing, they will not be able to give better ease of living to the citizens, better infrastructure will not be provided, and because of this particular thing, we are always going to find this thing that ease of living will be impacted. So, therefore, we need to enhance, provide that how municipal bodies can collect their own revenues. Okay. Now, taking the next article. So, first of all, read the heading. India, Britain sign the exchange letters for young professional scheme. So, basically, guys, India and UK. Now, this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 2, India-UK relations. India-UK relations IR. So, now India and UK, what they have signed? They have signed young professional scheme. They have signed young professional scheme on Pravasi Bharatiya Divas that was observed yesterday. That is on 9th of that was observed yesterday, that is on 9th of January. Now, what is this? What is this young professional scheme? Under this young professional scheme, 3,000 of degree holding citizens, they will be exchanged between India and UK. 3,000 degree holders of India will go in UK to search for jobs or to work, and 3,000 UK people will come in India to get jobs. Now, it's not needed that they need to have a job by when they are applying for visa. They can go and can search their job, they can search the job when they reach there. So, this is young professional scheme, fine. I hope guys it is visible. So what is young professional scheme? Under this particular scheme, 3000 degree holding citizens between the age of 18 to 30 will be allowed to live and work in each other's country for a period of 2 years. Now this particular thing has come as a part of India-UK Migration and Mobility MOU that was signed in 2021. Now, what is this Migration and Mobility Memorandum of Understanding or Migration and Mobility MOU? Now, keep this particular thing in mind, guys. If you remember, few days back, we have seen that similar agreement India has also signed with Austria. Now, mobility and migration agreement ensures that if people have overstayed in a country, even when their visa got expired, they can be sent back, they can be exchanged. Now, in past, we have seen this particular thing multiple number of times that Indian people, they have overstayed in Europe. And UK particularly has a very big problem with it. UK says that largest number of people who are overstaying in UK, they are Indians. So last year, we signed this India-UK Migration and Mobility MOU. In this particular agreement, we have specifically provided that illegal migrants who are living, they can be returned back to their home countries. So now UK is more confident that Indian people, if they come there, they'll not overstay. And if they overstay, they can be sent back. So now these kind of agreements can be signed. And this is one step in this particular direction. Okay. So this is all about this article. And now moving to next article. Opposition parties flays ECI's remote voting plan. Okay. Now, what is this particular article all about, guys? Few days back, Election Commission of India has proposed remote electric voting, remote EVMs, remote EVM machines. Now, Election Commission of India provides this particular thing that there are so many people who are not able to vote because they are migrant, they are living in some other state. Now, suppose, guys, I belong to some state, I am a registered voter in my home constituency. Today, I am living in Delhi. And if elections are going in my home constituency, I cannot go back and vote because many migrant are poor people. Fine. So because of that particular thing, Election Commission of India provided that in 2019 general election, voter turnout though increased to 67.4%, but still 30 crore people were not able to vote because many of them were migrant. So now we needed to ensure that remote e-voting, remote EVM need to be deployed. What are these remote EVM? So basically these remote EVMs will be deployed in other states. For example, election are going in UP, you can deploy an EVM in Delhi. So people from UP who are living in Delhi, they can vote in Delhi from this remote EVM. That particular vote will automatically be registered in their home constituency. At one time, the remote EVM that Election Commission of India has proposed can cater to 72 constituency. It can cater to 72 constituency at single time. Now, opposition parties are criticizing this remote EVM. What is the reason that they are criticizing this particular mechanism? Basically, guys, it has been said that when elections are taken, then there are political parties, they nominate their nominees. Okay, the political parties workers, they will be posted at polling booth and they'll ensure that no cheating happens. They ensure that free process of voting is being taken up. And they ensure that corruption, booth rigging, booth capturing should not happen. But when you will bring EVM, it means if elections are going on, let's say in Gujarat, voting machines will be deployed in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, many other such kind of cities. What about the small parties? They cannot send their nominees. How they will send their workers on those booths? So big parties, they have presence in all the states. They can send their workers, but small parties might not have that presence. So it will be detrimental to small parties. It will be detrimental to small parties who might not be able to muster personals, people beyond their own states. Is it clear? So this is issue that has come in this particular direction and therefore they have criticized it. So guys, this is only about this. Beyond this, no substance is there in this article. Okay, now we come to mains practice question for today. So today's mains practice question, it reads that Joshimath episode is a warning that Himalayan environment is at a tipping point. In this context, discuss the need for an appropriate development strategy that should not come at the cost of environment. It's a 10-marker question. It's a 10-marker question. And how you can get review on this particular question, guys? So we have created a peer-reviewed platform. You can go to our channel Thinking Palette. You can go to the pinned comment. In pinned comment, there is a link for this peer reviewed channel. There you can upload your questions, okay, and others aspirants also, they are uploading their answers, so you can learn that how they are writing, how you have written. You can get some good points, so you can learn with each other's answer there. So I'll encourage that every one of you, please try writing and please upload there. Okay, don't wait that anybody will review. You yourself make it as an habit that you have to write a best answer. Okay, compete with each other. Okay guys, compete with each other, try to ensure that you are writing the best answer. Fine. So this is something that can be done. So that is all guys about this particular article. I hope guys that you have understood it. So with this, we come to an end to today's newspaper analysis. Guys, if you have liked the video, please do hit the like button. Please do subscribe to channel if you have not done. Okay, and you can join Telegram channel, fine, to get this PDF, and I hope that you are liking the initiative. Meanwhile, a very good morning to all of you. Bhagyashri, Papaji, Yashu, Deepu, Vijay, Dhananjay, Shamukh Sundari, Yandaluri, Eliminati, Shyam, Masha Beer, Pushpanjali, Muthu, Sneha, Mona, Surender, Shelly, Kanchanala, Kumar, Harsh, Vinutha, Aspirant, Sushant, Asitha, Pallavi, Akshay, Nilu, Sandeep, Amber, Mahesh Bhai, Krishnaveni, Dr. Santosh, Ansari, Aligarh, Vipin, Gomed, Venkat, Shalini, Civil Aspirant, Preeti, Muthu, Arthi, Mahesh Bhai, MS, Mahesh Bhai, Arti, Riya, Sharon, Vidhi, Sajid, Mahesh Bhai, Kritik, Kritika Sisodia, Arjuna, Maths by Shiv, Shelly, Deepu, Rabdi Poonam, Nagraj, Suman, Roshan, Nishchay, Kajal, Urdendu, happy Rahoji. The way you explain the issue with background is awesome. Even the person who is watching for first time can easily understand. Please don't stop. Sakti Priya. Here we'll try to continue it at all the costs. Sakti Priya, Shushma Shri, Sundari, Suman Shri, Nilu Kati, Sandeep, Aditya Raj, Durga, Kumar Harsh, Fazil, Abhishek, Jyotsana, Mani. A very good morning to all of you guys. And guys, thanks for liking the video. And I hope that you have liked and enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Now we'll meet tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves.